And now they come asking for another chance, another shot. Our answer, not this time, not this year. This is not the time for third chances.
More people are going to find out the truth.
Colin Powell didn't lie.
More people are going to find out the truth.
Keep weapons of mass destruction.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it.
Those weapons of mass destruction got to be somewhere.
This isn't vests left over from the Vietnam War. It's the protection we were given when we deployed to Iraq. This is modern body armor, made for today's weapons. The difference is life or death.
By one estimate, we're now spending $500,000 on the war every minute. When the Associated Press took its own look at the audits of 15 executive departments, it found that the Defense Department and the Department of Homeland Security hadn't passed their audits and didn't even meet basic accounting requirements. They were given disclaimers. That is, their fiscal records are so disorganized and inconsistent they can't be fully assessed.
There are 78 criminal investigations and 20 indictments, we're told, related to contract fraud in theater.
Witnesses have said that we need more ethics training. Ethics training for a full colonel in the United States Army, to me, is like asking a Catholic bishop to reread the Baltimore Catechism. I'm just absolutely appalled.
And when I talk about contaminated water, I'm saying malaria, typhus, Giardia, Cryptosporidium. I mean, the list is...
I tried to notify the troops that they may be exposed to a serious health risk. I was told that the military was none of my concern.
Pentagon auditors found that a Halliburton contract to provide food and housing for American troops had a staggering $1.8 billion in unsupported costs.
Halliburton charged the government $100 for every bag of clothes they washed.
Whenever we got our laundry back, it felt worse than when we turned it in. Everything was still grimy, and I was told by my chain of command that I was not allowed to wash my laundry on my own. I had to take it to KBR to have it washed.
These contracts are managed under a system called Cost Plus, which is the opposite of trying to save money. It guarantees that everything that you buy will be paid back and reimbursed if it's seen as justified, and you'll be given a profit in addition.
The place that they chose for orientation in Kuwait was a huge resort set right on the ocean. Had, I think, 3 swimming
floors, mahogany woodwork. It's just beautiful.
Just don't question it. Enjoy it.
Why do they need an H2 Hummer? Why do they have Cadillac Escalades in Iraq for Halliburton managers?
More people are going to find out the truth.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it.
There are known knowns. There are things we know that we know. There are known unknowns. That is to say, there are things that we now know we don't know. But there are also unknown unknowns. There are things we do not know we don't know.
This platform is not a platform for propaganda. This is a platform for truth.
The world needs America's strength and leadership, and America's armed forces need better equipment, better training, and better pay. We will give our military the means to keep the peace, and we will give it one thing more: a commander-in-chief who respects our men and women in uniform, and a commander-in-chief who earns their respect.
So with all the billions that have been spent and all the security problems we've run into trying to spend it and figure out how to reconstruct the place, we see that we're not, Iraq is not any better off, but the ones who are really better off are all these contractors. Halliburton, Bechtel, all these different big contractors. They got mega monopoly contracts. They subcontracted, their subcontractors subcontracted, and there are layers of costs on top of layers of costs. A lot of people made money out of this who were the contractors, but the Iraqis and the American people are not better off because of all of it.
Secretary of Defense Donald Rumsfeld declared war, not on foreign terrorists.
The adversary is closer to home. It's the Pentagon bureaucracy.
Jim Minery, a former Marine turned whistleblower, is risking his job by speaking out for the first time about the millions he noticed were missing from one defense agency's balance sheets. Minery tried to follow the money trail, even crisscrossing the country looking for records.
Brownie, you're doing a heck of a job. The FEMA director's working 24 hours.
As CBS's Armin Katayan reports, the question is now whether FEMA is protecting those families or itself.
CBS News has learned that while telling the residents of its trailers that it is still working on the formaldehyde problem, it appears it prohibits its own staff from even briefly stepping inside trailers once residents have moved out. We obtained these exclusive emails that show the reason why. It is just too dangerous.
Secondly, there are such things as roving wiretaps. Now, by the way, anytime you hear the United States government talking about wiretap, a wiretap requires a court order. Nothing has changed, by the way. When we're talking about chasing down terrorists, we're talking about getting a court order before we do so.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will be shortly introducing a resolution to censure the President and senior members of his administration for undermining the rule of law. From authorizing an illegal wiretapping program to claiming the power to detain U.S. citizens indefinitely without charging them, I think this administration has shown disdain for the Constitution and the laws of the land. Mr. Attorney General, who visited the hospital to try to strong-arm a sick man who had temporarily relinquished his responsibility, you are responsible for those actions. At your confirmation hearing in January 2005, I asked you whether the President has the power to authorize warrantless wiretapping under the theories of the torture memo. And you called my question, quote, hypothetical, unquote, when you knew full well that this had been going on for years. You could have spoken to me after the hearing and told me there was something I should know that you couldn't explain in open session, but you did not. Then during your campaign to reauthorize the Patriot Act, you told Congress that there were no abuses of that law that we needed to worry about, even though you had documents showing there had actually been problems with the Patriot Act and other surveillance authorities. Then again last year, you came to this committee and told us that there had not been any serious disagreement about the warrantless wiretapping program the President confirmed in late 2005, a statement I believe was misleading at best. In every case, you somehow managed to come up with some convoluted theory for why your statement was technically accurate. When you look at all these incidents together, it's hard to see anything but a pattern of intentionally misleading Congress again and again.
Or people are going to find out the truth.
There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it. There are a lot of people who lie and get away with it.
And now they come asking for another chance, another shot. Our answer, not this time, not this year. This is not the time for third chances.